Welcome to Farm Talk, where we look at issues that affect agriculture and ranching here in the natural state. Brought to you by Heritage Agriculture. Here is your host, Mike Linton.
Welcome to Arkansas Farm Talk. I'm your host, Mike Linton. My guest today is Mr. Bob Scott. Bob, welcome to Arkansas Farm Talk.
I appreciate being here, Mike. Thanks.
You bet. Bob is the Senior Associate Vice President for Agriculture and the Director of the Cooperative Extension Service. Bob, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your education, and your role at the Extension Service.
All right. As you said, I'm the new Director of the Cooperative Extension Service. I started July 1 of this year, right in the middle of all the pandemic and everything. And so it's been an interesting time to take over the Extension Service. But I grew up in Southwest Oklahoma and went to Oklahoma State, where I studied agriculture and kind of got started in ag. I went to Mississippi State for my PhD and ended up getting a job with American Cyanamid a long time ago in the ag chemical industry. And after about 4 or 5 years of doing that, some of the other extension guys that I was covering at the time said, hey, we have a weed science position open, and you ought to consider jumping over to the academic side or to the extension side. And so it looked like a good deal for me. I was kind of ready for a change, and I started in 2002 with the Extension Service. So I've been with them for 16 years as a specialist working in weed science, and then the last 4 years I had a little bit of specialist duty, but also mostly administration.
Yeah, now I know you grew up on a cattle farm.
I did.
In Oklahoma, right?
Yeah. My dad was a cattle and peanut farmer.
Okay.
And that paid the bills through high school and college. Mom was a home economics teacher in high school. Pretty American background. But yeah, so that's where I got my beginnings in ag. For this job now that I'm in, working with the Extension Service, I like to tell people I was in 4-H, back in the day, and we're the 4-H people now. So I just have a long history of being in and around the extension programs and the Extension Service. Yeah,
now you've spent quite a bit of time at the Lone Oak office, correct?
I was. That's where I spent most of my career. For 16 years, I was a weed scientist. For the last part of that career, I also managed that facility, as you know, and then also our extension facility at Newport that we have. We have 2 extension research and outreach farms.
I got you.
And they're both located at, one's located at Lone Oak and the other at Newport.
I got you. Now you're the head of the Extension Service.
That's correct.
In the state.
The whole thing.
Okay. Well, let's talk about just a little bit about that. What's it been like taking over the leadership role at the Extension Service amid COVID-19?
Oh gosh. I don't know if we've ever done this before, but I interviewed for a director level job 3 times on Zoom. What else? And got that job without ever having a single in-person meeting. So
well, you were the man for the job.
There were some good candidates for that position, but
we've got the best one.
I appreciate that. But it's a sign of the times. That's the world that we're living in right now, and so we've just had to adjust the way we do programs. We've had to rethink our delivery. And how we make our contacts and how we get out to people. And so has it been real easy? Has it been smooth? Not all the time. We've had to learn how to do things over again in extension. And we're kind of an old dog. We've been doing this for a long time. So, but it never hurts to learn new tricks. And I really think on the positive spin on COVID-19, if there is one, we have learned new ways to do business and new ways to get our message out, new ways to do things. So I think the Extension Service may look a little bit different coming out of this.
Well, with the technology today, and the last 6 months, I can't tell you how many Zoom calls I've been on.
Right.
But with the technology today, I mean, as bad as COVID-19 is, it is good to move forward in a different direction. We just got to make sure that all of our farmers and ranchers know how to reach out to you and your different offices.
That's right. It's been important to us to make sure. I know the governor and there's a couple other grants out there. The Wi-Fi issue out in rural Arkansas has been a big deal for us.
It's a big deal.
In order to reach everybody, and of course we're trying to be as involved in that as we can. Some of our county offices are hot spots for that, and we're looking at doing more of that kind of stuff. So there's been a lot of things like that that have evolved out of this.
You know, we actually, you know, we're trying to cut hay and farm and everything else going on right now, and one of our tractors is down, and our guys couldn't work on it because there was no Wi-Fi signal. And you would think in 2020 there would not be any dead spots, but there are still dead spots.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will all be addressed in the near future, and there won't be any dead spots moving forward. You know, let's just talk about the extension service, what it is, and what it actually does for our producers.
Sure. So the extension service is a lot bigger than most people know. A lot of folks may only know the part of the extension service that they deal with. And of course, in agriculture, it's our county agent system. Sure. And our specialists. You know, we've always prided ourselves on providing our growers in ag with an unbiased source of information. And by growers, I also mean consultants, which is a huge base for us.
Sure.
To also try to assist and help them do their jobs. Really anybody that works in ag. I often joke, if you work in ag, we probably have a program you're interested in, you know, or some kind of service that we provide that you use, whether you realize it or not. So we're deeply involved in agriculture. And that's really what the extension service grew out of. It was a need to take, you know, the research that the universities, the land grant based universities do, and develop programs for education for folks out in the rural areas. And that meant farmers, and homemakers out in rural Arkansas.
Yeah, well, you know, moving forward, education is the key to success. That's going to drive success. Education and relationships. That makes a big difference, and I know your offices are open. All anybody has to do is just reach out to them if they need some questions answered or need some help.
That's right. We quarantined for just a little while, but our county offices opened back up just as soon as we could, working with the counties, with the county judges. You may need to make an appointment. You may have to knock on the door, but we're there, and we're accepting things. You know, we're accepting our soil samples. We're taking questions. We're doing our field visits. Here recently, we've also started having more in-person meetings.
Okay.
So that was something new for us, of people of larger than 10 people.
Yeah.
So we're back more active than we were initially.
Sure. So they can either call in, or they can call and make they can call in and then they can come in, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right. Hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Mr. Bob Scott. Welcome back to Arkansas Farm Talk. I'm with Mr. Bob Scott with the Extension Service. Bob, we've been talking about the Extension Service, the different offices that you've got. It's a huge scope here in the state of Arkansas. I know you've got dozens of different offices, different programs. Let's talk about that in just a minute.
Sure. So we still have offices in all 75 counties in Arkansas.
75.
75. We have an office in at least one office in every one of them. And some people might kind of take that for granted here in Arkansas, but that's not the way it is still in every state. And I kind of attribute that to, you know, Arkansas still having its roots in rural life and farming and agriculture. We're still a heavy ag-based, you know, economy here.
Yes.
We've got harvest going on right now, which is really important. But yeah, so we're still in all 75 counties. The other thing is our programs. You know, I came up in the ag side. And so I was very familiar with all things that we do in agriculture, more on the plant side really than the animal. But my background, as you mentioned, is also in beef production. So I had a little bit of that. But you know, the thing I've learned the most about the Extension Service is the scope of all of our other programs that we have. You know, our youth programs in 4-H, our community and staff development group is really big. Our public policy center right now is really active because it's an election and voting year, and they have a lot of activities around that, as well as the census. So we just have, you know, a vast array of programs really for everybody. And you know, I already mentioned it once, but the Family Consumer Science, which is our, you know, Extension Homemakers Club, our nutrition and health programs, a lot of those directly impact rural communities, especially where, you know, we have these food deserts and these other challenges associated with that. So we really just have programs that touch the lives of really every Arkansan. And for me, unfortunately, you know, part of my job is not everybody knows that. So I appreciate the opportunity to get on and let folks know.
Sure. Well, and the reason why is because you know this, Arkansas, I mean, the largest business in the state of Arkansas is farming and ranching. And 1 out of 6 jobs in the state of Arkansas is directly impacted by farming and ranching.
That's right.
So, you know, we want to be sure that everybody sitting at home that's watching the show understands, hey, I've got some issues, I'm unsure what to do about some certain things. I mean, who can I call? Who can I reach out to? They can reach out to the extension service, they can make a phone call, or they can set up a visit where they can come in and sit down and talk about different issues they're facing. And I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's huge in this state to have somebody to entrust that you can get with and help you figure out maybe what you need to be doing.
Yeah, no, you know, our county agents and specialists, they may not have all the answers, but one of the things we pride ourselves on is being able to point people in the right direction.
Yeah.
If there's an issue in a county, I guarantee you the county agent wants to know about it and wants to know how they can help and you know, what the issue is, and they can help hopefully resolve it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, I call the Lone Oak office a lot. You know, we've called the Arkansas County office quite a bit. But anyway, 75 different counties. Let's talk about staffing.
So we're pretty big.
Yeah.
You know, most people may be familiar with their county office where there's a 4-H agent, a county agent, FCS agent, and a few others there. Statewide, we employ over 600 people. So we're pretty
600.
600.
That's wow. Okay.
Yeah, I went from having 60 employees under my purview to 600.
We got 130, and I think that's a lot.
It's a lot, and you know the challenges there.
Yeah.
And that is a challenge for us. And you know, we have, I don't know, 10, 15 vacant positions right now around the state. So we're always looking for good people.
Yeah, yeah. You touched on it a while ago. The extension service, the involvement with 4-H and the youth programs, because moving forward, especially, that is huge. Working with our kids. Tell me about that a little bit.
This is a big deal for me. I want to see us succeed. It's been especially hard during COVID-19 because so many of these programs are hands-on after-school things. Mm-hmm. We had to put those on hold till we better understood how to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Yes.
The things we needed to do. We had to wait on folks to get comfortable doing those things. You know, I'm really proud to say, though, our 4-H'ers are good. I mean, you tell them this is what you have to do to have a meeting, and they just do it. And
well, they love agriculture. They love farming and ranching, and that's what they want to do moving forward.
It makes me feel really good to hear them say stuff like that when they give their speeches. And I was lucky enough to sit in with 3 of them that were that had qualified for the Governor's Award, which is kind of our highest in-state 4-H honor.
Yeah.
And just hearing those 3 candidates, very well-spoken young ladies, all 3 of them, and just to hear them give a speech, it kind of made me a little nervous because I've been doing this all my life, and they were pretty good, you know. So it's my predecessor, when I took this job, he said one of the things you'll love the most is getting to do the awards and seeing all the stuff that your 4-H'ers do. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's that, and then not just that, but just seeing the programs we put on in the county. You know, to me, all of that is about building up communities and developing, you know, a sense of civic duty in these kids, and it's just great to see them when they have it. And since I had it when I was a kid, you know, I like to think it worked out okay.
Yeah.
So, and today we need programs like that, really grounded programs that are grounded in family and life, making the right life choices and activities. And
well, that's our future. The future of agriculture is in their hands. So we have to do everything possible to educate, to encourage, and to promote agriculture.
That's right. And
I think you guys do a wonderful job of that with the 4-H and the different programs you offer.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's what we want to keep. We want to keep that opinion out there of everybody. We want to keep that, and it's like I said, with COVID-19, we've had to get creative. We've had to do some things online. We've started doing more, again, I mentioned about a month ago, we started doing more in-person things, and I got a lot of feedback that was really good. We kind of opened up our 4-H center, which we have one of the best 4-H centers of any of the states out there at Ferndale. We were able to open it back up to some controlled group size meetings, some safe ones that we could do safely. And so that's been very rewarding to be able to get back in business on the 4-H side for the kids.
Let me ask you this real quick. Okay, what age can the kids get involved in 4-H?
Oh gosh.
I mean,
young. You're asking the director a really specific 4-H question, but they start pretty young.
Yeah, I knew that.
They can start very young.
But that's encouraging.
My own kids went as early as, I don't know, 1st or 2nd grade. So,
yeah. So, and that's what we want.
Yeah.
We want to encourage the kids to do that.
That's right.
And support them and promote them as much as possible. And that's a great avenue to help do that.
Yep.
Hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Arkansas Farm Talk. I'm with Mr. Bob Scott. Bob, we've talked about a lot of stuff this morning. Now, you've had a bunch of virtual field days. Tell me about that a little bit.
Yep. So due to concerns over COVID-19, typical field day, we pack them on a trailer and you drag them around. Everybody's hot.
Yeah.
And in close quarters, and we couldn't figure out a way to do that in person in any kind of realistic sense. So we had to make a decision to take them all virtual. We started off with our rice field day. I think we had, I can't remember the exact number, it was well over 300 in attendance online for that, which is a good number for us. We've also had our corn and field day. It went really well. Had over 150 for that, which is pretty good. We got a soybean one coming up in a day or so, and then later on this fall we've got a cotton one.
Okay.
So we had 4 virtual online field days, and we put these things together. We got the specialists talking about their plots. It's our mission to get this information out there. We had a live online question and answer, which went really well. So we had our specialists sitting around their computers waiting on a question to come in, and we had it all got recorded. It's all online, and I can tell you, based on our experience, we're probably going to offer this in the future.
That'd be great.
Even when we go back to having them in person.
How do people find out about it?
How
do they find out about it?
How they find out, they can go to our website, www.uaex.edu.
Okay.
And there's probably a thing right there. They can follow us on Twitter. They can follow me on Twitter. Whatever. But usually it's not hard to find those dates.
Okay. County production meetings. It's a different deal this year. Tell me about that real quick.
So we're basing our decision right now on how things are right now. And given the way they are, we've asked our county agents to request presentations from our specialists that are specific for the county if that's what they want. Or they can get a general presentation like an update on weed control or an update on varieties for a given commodity or whatever. And then the agent can tailor the talks together and do a virtual online county meeting this year.
Okay.
So that's the direction we're going. And again, we're still doing in-person one-on-one and small group meetings, but for the larger meetings, we're going to host those online as well.
Sure.
And we think we can do this and even tailor it a little more for the counties based on our virtual field day experience that we've gotten already.
Okay, great. We got to talk about harvest. We're right in the middle of it. Corn harvest is full bore. We got rice harvest going on. Let's talk about harvest just a minute.
Well, I tell you what, I feel for guys this year. 2020 has just been
tough.
It's been a rough year for growers. Floods early, couldn't get a crop in. Now they're struggling in many ways to get it out. Thankfully, I know some people were affected by Laura, and I don't want to downplay that at all, but it could have been a lot worse. I've seen worse. We've all seen worse rains and things. So we somewhat dodged a bullet with Laura, and I've been really thankful for these dry, hot days we've had. And Twitter and Facebook are full of pictures of combines running.
They're running, boy, let me tell you. Our shops are running. I can tell you that.
And that's what we need to be doing this time of year.
Right.
So I'm fine. I hope that it just continues like this, and we we could just stay dry for a while now in the fall, and I think everybody would be pretty happy at this point.
Let us get this crop out.
Yes, sir.
Let's get this crop out. Okay, if producers have questions or need advice, they can reach out to the local offices, correct?
That's correct. Just call your county office, let them know who you need to talk to, what you need to talk about, and they'll either get with you right away on the phone, or you can make an appointment to come by. You know, to be honest, many of our producers and consultants, they've got the phone numbers in their phone, so just call them up. And like I said, we're still doing field visits. We're still doing on-site
You're here to serve.
evaluations. We're here to serve, and we're doing our best. We're doing our best to earn our keep.
Yeah.
You know.
There's a lot of major issues going on right now. I mean, anything specific stick out to you?
Well, we've talked about a lot of them today. I'd like to get through harvest this year, but you know, our growers continue to face challenges. Input costs, commodity prices that haven't gone up in association with those input costs.
They're trying to ease up a little bit.
They're trying, and that's kind of what we need. To me, that right there is farming is a business.
It is a business.
A lot of people lose track of that sometimes.
It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, but it's a business.
It's a business also, and anybody knows that a business has to be viable.
Sure it does.
We have to be able to make money to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So my big concern is, I mean, there's a lot of things you can talk about that are threats to farming, or, you know, urban encroachment, losing our land to development, things like that, water resources. So you know, you can run down the list, but to me, inputs and prices are where we need help.
You know, that's in my mind, and I've said it and I'm going to continue to preach it, that's what separates us and makes us the greatest country in the world. Our American farmers, our Arkansas farmers and ranchers can produce enough food to feed the world.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we don't never need to take that, you know, just, you know, hey, that's just the way it is. I mean, because it's a hard fight. Our guys fight hard every day.
You won't find a more resilient person than a farmer.
Most resilient. They're the most resilient.
That's right.
Any final thoughts?
I appreciate the opportunity to be on, and if you wonder what the Extension Service can do for you, just look us up online, and I bet you'll find something.
Well, Bob, thank you for everything you do for all the farmers and ranchers, and thank your entire team for everything they do to support agriculture here in the Natural State. We'll see you next week on Arkansas Farm Talk.
Thank you for watching Arkansas Farm Talk, brought to you by Heritage Agriculture.